We are headed into a verdict watch.
Out the blue, the defense says we rest our case.
Sean Combs is like 1 inch away from handing the judge a basket of muffins.
The whole court is like, what's going on? It was a mess. It was an absolute mess.
I have seen nothing but Puff turn on the charm. That's why he had a career.
He still thought he was running things.
He was charming, he was funny, he was witty.
So Diddy jumps up, right? You're doing an excellent job.
Baskets of muffins, of baked goods.
The judge looked at him like, okay, I appreciate that. Yeah, thanks for that, buddy.
To people that he wanted to be friends with, people he wanted to be in business with.
He was looking over with this puppy dog, googly-eyed look on his face.
He was doing the...
Looking at his defense attorney, like, Mommy, Daddy, what's going on? What's going on is you are the devil and you're being held accountable. I think this might be the limit of his star power.
Welcome, everybody. We are headed into a verdict watch here at Crime Stories. And joining us just outside the courthouse is investigative commentator Tissa Thompson. She's the star of Tissa Thompson on YouTube. Tissa, thank you for being with us. Tissa, first of all, Diddy sucks up to the judge. What did he say?
So Diddy jumps up, right? Because for some reason he thinks shooting up is the best thing to do. He jumps up. The whole court is like, what's going on? The judge says, hi, I just want to make sure that you understand that you are choosing not to testify. Yes. How you doing, Your Honor? Yes, I do. And may I just say, you're doing an excellent job. The judge looked at him like, okay, I appreciate that. Let's move on. It was such an awesome display of arrogance. And it lets you know, maybe this is how he got to the top. The fact that in his mind, he still thought he was running things. And he still thought that he was putting a gold star on Judge Aaron's forehead by saying, I think you're doing an amazing job. Yeah, thanks for that, buddy. Again, it was arrogance in its full display, and the way that Diddy is still trying to cosplay a character out of the Green Mile, looking almost acting like he doesn't know where he is, and a big lovable oath that is being falsely convicted. Again, we see why Diddy only made it in music and never made it in acting. It was a mess. It was an absolute mess.
Well, wait a minute. There was that episode in Monster Ball where he played, let's see, what was it? A convicted felon behind bars. He was very convincing at that. Okay, hold on. I got to go out to Rob Shooter. Rob Shooter is joining me, star of Naughty But Nice podcast. He's at robshooter.substack.com. I just read your article, reread your article in The Hollywood Reporter, but for my purposes, he was the PR guru for Sean Combs. No longer. And have you ever seen Sean Combs turn on the charm when he has to?
I have seen nothing but Puff turn on the charm. That's why he had a career for as long as he had one. This guy's charming. I've been saying it all along, and it's very difficult to use that word when all this awful evidence is being presented. The Puff that I saw was charming, he was funny, he was witty. He almost too could pretend to be humble. It's a shocking thing in celebrity, Nancy, but a compliment.
Well, wait. Yeah, you know what? Sorry, Shooter, but I'm not in the PR world. I'm in the crime world. Don't say it unless you can prove it, and you got to prove it with hard evidence. So I want to hear examples. When did Sean Combs ever put on the humble act? Because I see him wearing his capes and his dope ropes and dripping in jewelry. I don't see the humble act. I've never seen the humble act. Please enlighten me.
Yeah, well, you were not in those rooms when he wanted a deal, when he had to go up to Macy's and Bloomingdale's here in New York and try to get them to sell his clothing line. He acted pretty humble. It was not above him to turn up with goodies, baked goods, flowers, cakes, things to make people feel special. And it often works. I know we all like to think that we are above a compliment. I know we all like to think that when somebody flatters us, we can see straight through it. 9 times out of 10, in my experience, we can't. Puffy can be charming. He knows what he's doing. It's all an act, but it's an act that he has perfected.
You had me at baked goods. Okay, can I hear about that? Are you listening to this, Tissa Thompson? I want to hear about the baked goods.
Puff would often send baskets of muffins, of baked goods to people that he wanted to be friends with, people he wanted to be in business with. When Puffy wanted his fragrance collection, he desperately wanted his own fragrance. He got one. That was relentless how he pursued the Lauders. He would turn up at their charity events. He would turn up at their benefits. He would send notes to them. Puffy was the king of the follow-up. He loved sending notes. In the trial, we heard how he would pick up the phone himself and call people that he wanted something from. He'd call them my angel, my best friend, my dear savior. So Puffy plays this game really well, and he's been playing it for a very long time.
So Tissa tells, I guess that Sean Combs is like 1 inch away from handing the judge a basket of muffins. Tell me again, what did he say to the judge? Did it work? Oh, dear Lord in heaven.
No,
Go ahead. I'm ready. I'm braced.
Okay, it did not work at all. Actually, we had to actually laugh at Judge Aaron's. I don't know how Diddy was not humiliated. Judge Aaron's reaction was like, literally, he looked for a second like, what is wrong with you? Then he realized the whole courtroom was looking at him. And then he just said, okay, I appreciate that. Anyway, moving on. It fell so flat. Diddy was even thrown up. And may I just say, you're doing an excellent, I think you're doing an excellent job, Your Honor. What did Diddy expect to happen? While he's standing there trying to look like a 3-year-old that got caught stealing cookies. And the judge looking at him like, what are you up to? Okay, let's just move on. And then Diddy's still sitting there. And I swear you could feel the prosecution just grimacing like, ugh, why did he do this? And he kept on moving. After that, he kept saying, yes, Your Honor. No, Your Honor. I think I do. Let me ask. Again, he tried to reduce himself to the mental capacity of a 3-year-old. And the whole time, the judge was just looking at him, just so puzzled. I hear what Rob Shooter's saying, but you know what? I think this might be the limit of his star power. I think something about being in a federal courtroom under indictment for grand jury, I don't think that little humble, gracious Diddy act is working.
Tissa, you've been in the courtroom. I want to hear about the Google DIs part 2.
As the defense was putting on their 10-minute case where they were basically reading text messages, he was looking over, trying to act like he was looking at Westmoreland, but he was looking over with this puppy dog / innocent googly eyed look on his face that literally just had him look over, and the jury was just looking back. Now, here's the thing. The jury has completely changed from a couple weeks ago. They were not making eye contact with him at all, which maybe juror 6 leaving might have been the best move. It had a chilling effect on the jury. But the second thing that happened where the googly eyes really hit is they're trying to ignore the pound puppy eyes, and then all of a sudden, out the blue, the defense says, we rest our case. Half of the jury had their eyes glazed over from reading the text messages. The other half had a look of shock. And it literally took 10 seconds for it to hit. Like, wait, what? What did they say? The jury was absolutely shocked. And it was a nice thing to say. I think in that moment, Diddy's team probably really questioned whether they did the right thing not having any witnesses on the stand.
I want to get back to, first of all, I got to talk about everything that you just said because I need to analyze it. I want you to act out the Google DIs. When were the Google DIs? And I'm very concerned that first the jurors won't look at Combs, and now they are looking at him. That's bad for the state. For them to be making a lot of eye contact with the defendant, oh no, that's not good, unless it's a disgusted look. So first of all, tell me about the Google DIs, and please act it out.
The googly eyes. He sat there. He did that again. He's acting the Green Mile too. Softened his shoulders, almost like he wanted to melt. Looked up. Was looking at his defense attorney. He's like, "Mommy, Daddy, what's going on? What's going on is you are the devil and you're being held accountable." He looked over at the jury, kind of wanted to have a hangdog expression, and was looking at the corner of his eyes. Of course, he had to be very calculating about it because he's not allowed to look directly at the jury. So he was looking at his defense attorneys that happened to be at his sharp right by the jury, and was just sitting there looking over, looking confused as if he wasn't the reason. And we just didn't have to sit through a combined amount of what felt like 40 minutes of freak off tapes. It literally combined over the last week. It was 40 minutes of hardcore triple X freak off tapes. And now he's sitting there in that yellow sweater, just looking so confused. It was so baffling. But again, I will say one thing, that man has no shame at all. And if he could take an inch, he did it. Again, the jury was not looking at him. They were looking straight. Some jurors were looking at the wall, some were looking at the judge. Some people were looking at Esteban. I think she was standing up and talking. But again, it was a mixed bag. When they said the defense rests, the jurors' faces, the people that were glazed
Okay, wait.
over were
I've
like,
got to address the Google eyes first. Then I'm going to get
okay,
to the
sorry.
jurors going, what? Okay. When did the Google eyes happen? When did that happen?
The googly eyes happened as they stood up and mounted their 10-minute defense. When they started reading text messages, I think it was 7 to 10 minutes, they started reading random text messages, and everybody thought it was just business as usual. All of a sudden, you saw his shoulders slump. You saw him start to look over at his defense team, who, by the way, the person reading the messages was one row up. So you're looking the wrong way, sir, which was the first indication that here we go, and scene, action, right? He slumped, he looked over, he looked over, he looked confused, and then he decided to swing his googly eyes to his immediate right and the direct line of jury to his defense attorney looking over there. Again, it was a sight to see. It was pathetic, but hey, if your life's on the line, desperate times call for desperate measures.
Shooter, I told you this was going to happen. When it comes right down to it, and the same thing happened with Scott Peterson, it always happens when the defendant is not going to take the stand. They make a big show like, they're holding me back. I really want to tell the truth. But in this case, he was doing the look in front of the jury. I mean, really? This is the guy I just saw beat I gave up cursing when I had the twins. The crap out of Cassie Ventura. The fat lip, the eye, plastic surgery, the bruises. Hey, you know what, Control Room? Can you pull up that picture? It's way back in there of the bruises on her side. That's right over her kidney, for Pete's sake. Covered in bruises. And he's doing the puppy dog look at the jury. You know what? Save it, Combs.
I think he's making a really smart move, Nancy, and I fear it's going to work. I've seen it work. I've seen this happen many, many times, not just with Puffy, but with other celebrities that are on trial. We've got to remember, celebrities really, really powerful. Maybe not to the experts, the people that we speak to, but people on a jury, people in the world go nuts for celebrities. I've worked for a lot of celebrities who are not even that talented, but they're stars. They know how to get us to buy what they're selling, and that's what Diddy is doing today. He's selling his freedom as if it is a fragrance. He is out there promoting it, and I predict, Nancy, it's going to work.